Hi there and welcome to this 2-minute tips video, and today we're going to be looking at menu banks. As you'll know, whereas in many Nikon cameras there are user settings U1, U2, U3 to hold different settings, in Nikon's Pro cameras such as the D500, the D850, the D6, the Z8 and the Z9, they use a system of memory banks, and there are 4 of these labelled A to D. The memory banks, or the menu banks, are split into 2. There are the shooting menu banks, which hold the photo shooting settings and the video recording settings. And there are the custom settings banks, which hold the various settings from A, which is focus, through to G, which is video. Now, each of these menu banks can be set up for a different type of photography or video. And for example, I have mine set up where menu bank A is for travel or general purpose. Menu bank B is for low light, where perhaps the ISO settings are different. I have menu bank C set up for portrait, where the autofocus setting I use is different. And I have menu bank D set up for action or sport, where there are fast moving subjects, and again where I have a different approach to autofocus and my shooting, burst shooting. So you can set them up based on what your requirements are, what kind of shooting you do, and you can rename each bank. So I have my bank A actually labelled travel. You can copy the menu bank, so if you set up menu bank A, you can copy it across into menu bank B as the starting point for adjusting the next menu bank, and you can reset them all to factory settings. You can do all of this in the menu system or using the buttons on the camera. It's fairly intuitive and fairly simple to use. There are some caveats in particular in the shooting menu banks, so those relating to photo shooting settings and the video recording settings. You have to remember that these are paired, so the photo and video settings in bank A are going to be the same. So what I do, for example, is in portrait, my menu bank C, I know that my video settings in there are great for talking head type videos. Equally, the video settings in menu bank D for me are different. They're going to be action videos, so I'm perhaps recording at a higher frame rate. Equally, there are some limited number of settings that are linked across the shooting menu banks. So for example, if you set multiple exposure to be on in menu bank A, it's going to be on in menu banks B, C and D. Similarly, time-lapse video is going, if you set it on in menu bank A, it's going to be on in all of the menu banks, and there's a list on the screen for the different settings where this applies. Now, to switch between menu banks, you can go into the photo shooting menu at the very top and switch between them, and then go to the custom settings menu and switch between them. But that can be quite time consuming, and there is a risk that you switch one of them to from menu A to menu C, for example, because you're going from travel shooting, in my case, to portrait shooting, and you forget to switch the custom settings menu. They don't switch in unison. So what I've done is actually a little hack to make it easier to use, because you can allocate shooting bank and custom banks to the I button menu. So I have them in my I button menu, and I can quickly switch between the menu banks in the shooting bank and the custom bank. Now, I tried associating each of them with function buttons, but you can only associate shooting banks to a function button. So the hack I've created around this is I've associated my function 3 button to the my menu setting, and then I've put the 2 of them at the top of my menu, so I can quickly press function button 3, go into my menu and switch between shooting banks and custom settings banks, which is much quicker than going into the menu system, and you're less likely to get out of sync between the different menu banks. There is an extended menu bank setting, and I'll cover that in a separate video, but I didn't want this one to become too long and convoluted. So I hope you found this useful. If you did, hit subscribe, hit like below, and let us know what you're using the different menu banks for in the comments below. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you on a future video.